Hi guys, my name is Borodante, and welcome back to ARACHNA. So we're back to this is the stage we left off in the previous episode. You guys seem to really enjoy the new colors. Some of you mentioned that maybe it's not the perfect fit for the horror aspect of the character, but as others of you mentioned, I think it's the opposite, like it's sort of refreshing and kind of cool. Actually something new, contrary to all these boring, same old, dark, misty kind of horror stuff. It's always the same. This feels a lot more interesting in my opinion, at least for this character. I feel like putting it into much more of a like vibrant, real nature environment feels a lot more like something worth exploring. So that's what I think. Let's continue doing stuff. You guys wrote a lot of comments, really helpful, thank you all. I'm reading these on desktop right now. Pretty much all of you are satisfied with what we got. We just need to continue coming up with new interesting details for the character. Someone said that it would be cool to add like more necklaces and stuff on the character, maybe in here as well, to just introduce more interesting complementary colors to the red robe, which is a cool strategy. So let's start doing something like that. Alright, jumped around on some values, some wrinkles, made the teeth a bit brighter, added a couple of black strips on the cloth. Now let's actually add something blue. Not this blue, this is not a good blue. Super saturated. By the way, some of you guys said like the whole saturation may be a bit too... like not a lot of stuff in reality is that saturated, so maybe not the best choice of colors we have or something. To that my answer is, I don't care. I don't care what reality is like, that's why I'm drawing something that is not real. Like, ARACHNA doesn't exist, and if we are coming up with it, why not use colors that are actually entertaining, I don't know, worth looking at? I've heard this a lot from all kinds of professional artists, especially concept artists, because they always try to, like in modern pop culture, it's important to be able to create concepts super realistically, like photorealistically. And I get the thing when they say you should choose paler, more real colors, not go crazy saturated all the time. I get why, and overall this is a good idea if you want to go for, I don't know, realism. Not in just the appearance, but in the genre of what you're painting. But in this case, it's a bit of a different story. As some of you guys said, this is like Outlandish Curiosity went a bit horror direction. Kind of the point of it, and overall, like my personal take on the whole idea of using like more realistic colors closer to like shades of gray, it's sort of like trying to hide or compensate your lack of knowledge or skill in creating a realistic rendering by just imitating it, knowing that usually the colors are more pale, so I'm gonna be using pale colors and stuff like that. Like, it's not really what realistic rendering needs, but it's a good way to kind of imitate, pretend that this is realistic just because we're more used to see subtle colors around us. But that's not necessary. You can, like, there are really colorful objects in reality around us. They don't look non-realistic, so that's not like a rule, but I mean, everyone probably gets that. But overall, I gotta say, like, on the opposite side, I do have some kind of phase lately that I want to use really, like, saturated colors and really strong contrast, so I don't know. I had my time working on really pale pictures, now it's time for the other kind. What the hell are these rubber bands? I should never paint and talk at the same time. I had a thought for a moment that I need to add another one that is much longer, but then my thoughts went away. Maybe the opposite, actually. It's like it's coming home from some rave, super tired with a bottle of mineral water. I think I'm only making it worse and worse in that exact direction of rave. We'll see. What if it's gonna be actually like some kind of twisted cloth? There's some stuff going on in here. I'll probably also add this kind of dirty-ish, yellow-ish white cloth stuff around the neck too. Seems like it will be a good addition to this set of colors. And yeah, not forgetting some shadows onto the robe. I'm just having too much fun with all this color abstraction thing that each stroke is a different color. Like, I have it set up at a pretty high value, so the colors are jumping around very strongly. Like, this is crazy. This was painted with the same hue, actually, but so many different colors because it was close to gray. That's why they go completely opposite sometimes, and it's kind of cool. The thing with this mess of abstraction like this is that you can bring it to a much more subtle look very quickly. Just turn it off and add a couple of strokes with the precise color if you need to. Having this at first is really cool, because it's not that easy to just introduce some extra artistic chaos like this on top of no chaos. So it's best to go from chaos to something more precise afterwards if you need to go more precise. A good example of how to shade something that's supposed to be very light, but at the same time to visualize it in full contrast with deep shadows. You just push those deep shadows to the very, most dense, most specific cracks, folds, or whatever it is, some kind of contact shadows, something right in between, right in the fold, and outside of it, it's immediately much lighter. So you just push the gradient of light to dark closer to, if this is a cylinder, like in here we have the shadow and here we have the light, this would be middle gray, and it would be gradually getting darker here and gradually being lighter here. If we want to paint something that is actually very white, the middle would be here, and this would be stretching to white, and this would be stretching to black super quickly, because there will still be moments where it will be completely black. If it's a super deep fold of sorts, you'll see how there's no light at all inside of it. So it has to happen, but it will be super sharp and rare. Well, by the way, the reference that I forgot about, right? That's where you can see these super sharp shadows in the folds, and outside of them it's immediately super bright. It almost looks like an outline, a sketch. I have no idea what I'm doing right now. I have no idea what I'm copying, to be specific, but it's kind of the point. I want it to look like you have no idea what you're looking at. So it should be not exactly like this, but so far I would like to have exactly what I'm looking at in the reference. Oh, this is looking so interesting now. Like, this whole area is all kinds of stuff. Interesting. And the physics of contact of everything and different types of materials, different colors. Cool. Okay, it's turning out pretty cool. I don't know, I'll add a couple more details. Really cool working with, like, it's not just about what kind of details I'm copying, it's about copying the way they sit one next to another. In reality, if you want to show 7 objects, they're not gonna be just, you know, all here. They will be, in many cases, overlapping in all kinds of ways, and like little things that are usually don't really come to your mind when you work just from imagination. Like, for instance, the fact that you don't necessarily have to see the end of a rope, even though there's one. It may be just going somewhere behind itself, so you just won't see it. Stuff like that just makes things, especially like in small details, when you're trying to make like an interesting mess. These little things, and especially the overlapping thing, it's just such a thing that is really important to create these little moments. Kind of close to the idea of using the more subtle, closer to gray colors to make it look more realistic. In here, we're also kind of like keeping in mind that in reality, nothing will probably be like perfectly visible for our particular angle for no reason. Things will probably overlap. So you do that, and it immediately acquires certain depth and realistic feel to it. Real cool. Alright, pretty dope progress for today. Not a lot of it, but I don't know, I feel like I should stop now. Not in my best shape lately, making videos pretty rarely. Like, I'm feeling fine. I know what to do to make myself get back into the super productive schedule I've been having before for the whole summer, but I don't want to do that for a little while. Like, I'm taking a little vacation maybe, so I'm making 1 video a week or something, just to do something else for a little while, the way I pretty much do every now and then. So yeah, this is why we're taking it slow. Not having any less fun with the process though. Obviously, this is really cool. I just wanted to stay that way. Yeah, in the next episode we'll pay much more attention to the Scorpio legs and maybe some forest. We'll see. Tell me guys what you think about the progress. For now, this is it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Probably the best thing about this artwork, why I kind of really like it, it's comfortable to work with, because it has this really strong just concept art vibe to it, which means I don't take it too seriously, so I can experiment, and I'm experiencing a lot of freedom with what I want to make of it. Complete opposite to the Black Widow, where this is such a big and important character and nothing's really up to it. It's a pretty heavy feeling. We'll go back to it for sure, but for now I'm definitely having much more fun with ARACHNA.